2, 1. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Lo-Fi Horror Guy. Welcome to another episode of the Lo-Fi Horror Guys, growing on you live today, the season finale of season 5. Holy moly, time is flying by for sure. And today we have a super sick episode. My dude, Nuke Dave off of Instagram, my good buddy, a good pal. We're gonna break down some sick part 2s, horror movie part 2s that you should see if you have not seen, you know. We're going to dig into a little bit more of the stuff, you know, other than the Evil Dead 2s and the Halloween 2s, you know, the things that might have slipped through the cracks that you may have not seen before, you know, maybe a little less popular, but still awesome and something that you definitely need to be watching. Dave!
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Nervous.
Dude, this is going to be fun. This is going to be sick. I've been so excited for this episode, man. I've been doing lots of digging and lots of, you know, going through my collection, as I can only imagine you're doing the same, my dude.
Yes, watching a lot of sequels, trying to watch the originals to do a comparison. It's been fun, especially during Stephen King week. I mean, I'm like, all right, what do I watch, Stephen King or sequels? And I'm trying to balance everything out.
You know, and it's so close to October, so you're like, man, I just, you know, kind of want to watch just a Halloween movie. I want to, you know, but I appreciate your time, sir, and I cannot wait to jump into this. So if you haven't seen the show before, basically, I have a couple of introductory questions, just little icebreakers. The rest of it is about you and your craft and us talking about our favorite part 2s for our selections for today. And then I have one finale just for you, my dude. So if you're ready,
all right,
let's get it going, my man.
Heck yeah.
So just tell me first off, I guess, as far as, you know, what if you and I were making a horror movie and I left it up to you to make the villain, to make the, you know, to make a monster, a cannibal movie, what would our movie be? What would the villain be?
Well, I'm a huge fan of revenge films, so it would have to incorporate a revenge film set in New York City in the early 80s, because what better time?
Right.
And it would have to be some sort of undead monster that has come back to take revenge on those who wrong them. Potentially a female, because I'm all about the female revenge movies, which is something I recently got into. I mean, in the past probably 10 years or so, just because some of them were so hard to find. You know, you couldn't, and I didn't have a VHS player, so, you know, when companies like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and all those others started releasing these movies, I was first in line to go pick them up and check them out.
Sure. So what's your take on some of the ones that are like the rape revenge, like that type of subgenre?
The rape revenge, did you say?
Yeah, like the, you know, I Spit on Your Grave and the, you know, the Last House on the Left and all those.
No, I love those. Miss 45 being my absolute favorite. I think that movie just basically is like the perfect revenge film for me. It's got an awesome soundtrack. The scenes, the setup, it's just amazing.
It's called Miss 45?
Ms. 45, yeah. So MS.45, and it's done by the same guy that did Driller Killer, so it's really gritty. Okay. Yeah. And it just really does an awesome job portraying like a mute girl who is out for revenge on the men that wronged her, and I love it.
Nice.
It took me a while to get my wife to watch it. But now it's actually in her top 5 favorite movies of all time. So,
damn, yeah, I've never even heard of that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Was it released through like a Synapse, or do you remember by chance?
It got released through Alamo Drafthouse. I think it was Drafthouse Films or something like that.
Okay.
I don't think it's out of print. You could probably get it on eBay for like $20 or something like that. But I highly recommend it. It's got really cool special features too about Zoe, who's the main actress in it. She wrote Bad Lieutenant. If you've ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
But she's had quite the interesting life and passed away way too young. in the late 90s, I believe. So it's really cool just to kind of see that stuff too.
Damn! Wow, yeah,
So
no shit. I'm gonna have to check that
yeah,
one out. I'll have to slap on the eBay there and check that out and pick it up.
heck yeah. Let me know how you think.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so now if my wife and I do some traveling, as I see, you guys do as well, and I'm gonna say the next time that we're through Ohio, what is a local food staple to you that you would tell us, you guys have to stop here?
We live around Cedar Point, so there's some interesting restaurants and things like that. And Cedar Point, for those who don't know, is an amusement park. It's probably like the biggest roller coaster amusement park in the world, or something like that. And it just so happens I'm terrified of roller coasters, so I'll ride them to try to be a tough guy. But then after I ride one, I'm like, okay, this is too much for me. I'll stand in line and then step off. Yeah, in high school I would do everything, and then I would wonder why, like, I felt like I had a migraine for the next 3 or 4 days. But Small City Draft House Small City Tap House in downtown Sandusky. It's got 65 beers on tap if you're into that. It's owned by a guy from Vietnam who actually makes his own beer there too. And he uses like Vietnamese coffee to like make certain stouts and things like that. So it's really cool, and it's Asian infusion. So it's got sushi, vegetarian food, whatever you want. It's pretty much on the menu as far as like Asian infusion is concerned.
Damn,
and they also now have like
awesome.
a separate whiskey bar in that building. So yeah,
wow, okay, this is right
cool.
Downtown Sandusky.
Yep. Yeah, right by the ferry that would take you over to Put-in-Bay, which is like a popular tourist spot, or Kelly's Island. Put-in-Bay is a little too party for me. I'm more Kelly's Island kind of guy, but but I'm sure you've heard of it if you're from Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've never been to either, but I hear a lot about those places too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to interesting experience, people watching, go to Put-in-Bay for sure.
Nice. So now, digging into your horror interest, I've got to know some of this stuff as far as, where did it all start for you? What's your horror origin? Possibly your first horror movie ever that you watched.
For me, I mean, the first thing I can actually remember was when I was like 5. My dad rented the Thriller music video because at that point in time they had that in like the video store. And my dad was like into a lot of that style of music in the 80s. So he brought it home and watched it with me, and my mom like flipped her lid because she walked in the room and saw like all these zombies and whatnot. And I was terrified of like the one zombie that I remember coming out of the ground, like from the manhole cover in that video. It like ruined me. And granted, I was like 5. But after that, on that VHS, there was like a making of featurette, and it was like an hour long where they talked about how they made everything, and then they also did the American Werewolf in London making of because the same people worked on the Thriller video. So I watched that hundreds of times because we had like a dual deck VHS thing where my dad could like record movies that we rented. So we made a copy of that. So I watched it whenever. But that, and then Night of the Living Dead. I remember I was probably 7 or so. My parents introduced me to horror at a young age because they were into it. But I like came in from playing with my friends outside one summer night, and my parents just started Night of the Living Dead, and I was like, "What is this black and white show? I don't want to see it. Blah blah blah. Can we watch something else?" And they're like, "Well, hold on, just wait." And 5 minutes in, obviously, the cemetery scene, I was completely hooked. And to me, that was like the most life-changing experience as far as horror is concerned. Like, I went from 0 to 100. And then after that, every time I would go to the video store, I was making sure I would walk up and down every horror aisle, look at every VHS cover. And then, as I got older, I would look for the NC-17 stickers on the side of the VHS boxes and then go for those first.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of how it all started for me, I guess.
What were some of your local video shops?
Well, obviously we had a Blockbuster, but we had some mom and pop shops. that really specialized in a lot of like more underground stuff that you normally wouldn't see. I mean, some of them would have so many tapes that like they would have flattened out VHS boxes just like taped up to cardboard, and you would just go through bins like flipping through the cardboard, and then you would take that up, and they would go get the movie. Like I saw Flesh Eater that way, which is a Bill Hinsman movie. He was a cemetery zombie in Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. But Flesh Eater to this day is like one of my favorite fall movies, and it's on Blu-ray now, but it was like near impossible to come by, and the fact that I found it at one of our like mom and pop shops blew my mind as a kid. So it was just like those hidden gems, you know. It changes your life especially when you're like a person like me, I guess, where I would prefer like my Friday nights and Saturday nights just watching movies and hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, right. No, that's cool. You know, I definitely agree. That was always the one thing where it'd be like, you know, you could go to Blockbuster or whatever. You could go to like different shops like that for something like you were trying to look, you know, for like maybe a video game that was more mass produced. But anytime it was like a group hangout and it was me and my buddies and everything, we would try to find, you know, we would go to the local, you know, smaller mom and pop shops because, you know, they'd have that dungy ass little section all the way in the back that's, you know, tucked in the corner and completely dirty and sometimes behind a curtain even, you know, you're like,
oh my gosh,
that's where the shit is.
Yep. And, you know, they had people that were knowledgeable that worked there usually.
Yeah.
So you can ask them good questions and be like, well, I want a movie like this, you know, could you find something comparable? I mean, Return of the Living Dead, like, was probably my number one favorite movie for half of my life at least. And at Blockbuster, I remember I rented it so many times that eventually, I think a year went by, and I like went up to the store clerk, and I was like, hey, could I buy this movie from you guys? And, you know, it was in the old VHS clamshell box, plastic box and everything. And they're like, hold on. They pulled up their records, and they're like, well, only one person has rented this movie in the entire year, and you've rented it like every week at least. So they sold it to me for $10.
Oh,
you know, shit. And that was like crazy because back then VHS tapes, if you were to buy one, was like $100 or something like that.
They're
so
expensive.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
That was an awesome.
I can say I remember one time with, you know, something similar. I was looking around at a local. It was a family video actually, and they had body bags back when it was like the DVD had been out, and like people, it was on eBay and just stupid expensive. And I picked it up, you know, it's like all sun dried out and, you know, faded and everything. I brought it up to the counter, and that was the same thing. I got it for like maybe $15, and at the time it was like $80-$90 for just a DVD. So those are some of the of the times right there. That's the best shit right there. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not letting go of that VHS tape, even though I don't have a VHS player.
Have you heard of the Living Dead weekend that's going on in Pittsburgh in November?
Yeah, we're actually going.
You gonna go?
Still, I guess. Yeah, if it's happening, I'm going. Yeah, we bought tickets for the July show, but then it got pushed back. So you're going?
Oh, really? So I almost positive. I'm waiting on my one buddy to see if he can get off work that weekend, but I've got the weekend off, and we're supposed to be going. So that'd be sick.
Hell yeah!
You ever listen? Man! You ever listen to Neon Brainiacs?
I feel like I did. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember all the podcasts I listen to, but yeah, I believe so. But you're going with one of them?
Well, we're meeting up. It's me and my two other buddies, and we're meeting up possibly with Greg, who was talking about, you know, pretty heavily with going too. But shit, if you're going, I'm gonna have to message you, my dude. That'd be sweet as shit.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude. We have a hotel downtown Pittsburgh, I think, or whatever.
Oh, really? Okay.
DoubleTree or whatever it is.
Okay.
That we blocked off. So yeah, we'll be there that weekend, I think, as long as this whole COVID thing kind of allows them to have it. But Kevin, who runs it's an awesome guy, so should be really cool. Sweet.
Yeah, I'll have to message you more later about all that.
Heck yeah.
But that's sweet. What are some, you know, you're mentioning some gems in your collection. What are some of your just top gems that you have that you would never get rid of?
Movie-wise, like actual video stuff, I would say my Return of the Living Dead. I've got the Blockbuster Presents Night of the Living Dead, which was like the first hard copy of Night of the Living Dead I ever owned. Because back in the day, Blockbuster would like put out these Blockbuster Presents VHS releases, and They did one for Halloween, which I have, and then that one. The Midnight Hour. I have the re-release that they did for that, which is probably my favorite Halloween movie of all time, just because as a kid, I never knew the name of the movie for years, but I would know that it would play on Halloween night on like local TV. So my friends and I would like go trick-or-treating and immediately run home, go through our candy, and watch that movie, which it has like zombies, werewolves, vampires, what's his face from Reading Rainbow is in it. LeVar Burton or whatever. I mean, it's hilarious. It's just so much fun. And
it's got like a musical in it, right? Like there's like musical pieces. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have a song called "Get Dead," which Sherry Belafonte, daughter of Harry Belafonte, sings, and it's awesome.
Oh, weird. It's been a long time, probably since it was on TV, since I actually watched that. But I remember seeing it a long time ago.
There's a really good ripped copy on YouTube that somebody put out there. So I would say watch that. I mean, it's better than my bootleg DVD I found at like some convention a few years ago. And I was like, darn it, why did I buy this $10 bootleg when it's better on YouTube? So I'm praying that somebody releases it, like Vinegar Syndrome. Please release this. Or Synapse or somebody.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so the overall to our show today, our episode is the best or some favorite part twos. So let's start digging into them. I'll ask, we'll talk about maybe our first selection, and then I'll have a question, and we'll go kind of back and forth on that. So if you want to start, this is just some of our personal favorites for horror movie part twos.
All right, here we go. Number one. Tell me if you can see this, because I can't see my thing there.
Oh,
you see that?
Yeah.
All right.
Prom Night 2. Hello.
Prom Night 2, Hello, Mary Lou. What can I say that's not bad about this movie? It takes the whole premise of prom night and Carrie and everything and smashes it together into like one giant supernatural horror delight, I guess. I mean, it's awesome. There are great one-liners. There's great gore. At the time, I think her burning scene where she like catches on fire was like the longest filmed burn scene of any movie, and it was a woman that did it, so that was awesome. I mean, it's just so good, and it's Canadian horror, and I feel like Canadian horror is overlooked a lot, even though it's some of the best movies out there.
Yeah.
I mean, my number one favorite movie now is Black Christmas, and that's a Canadian horror film. I mean, almost everything I've watched from Canada I just love. So, so this is another one. The sad thing is this is a DVD and it's never seen Blu-ray release, so I don't know why. I don't know if there's not enough people out there, if it's a rights issue or what. But
yeah, right. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to see. I've a lot of my selections too are DVDs too, and like the majority of my collection actually is DVDs. I still love my DVDs, man. I've got lots of Blu-rays and shit, but those DVDs hold a special place.
Yeah, and sometimes the quality is almost the same as a Blu-ray, or it's even better to watch it on DVD because you don't see the gags. Because when it's too clear on Blu-ray, you're like, oh man, I see that string, or I see the guy's normal skin color underneath his arm, or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Agree. All right, so my number one. And now that we just started this, I'm a little worried as far as because I was so close to choosing that same movie too. So I'm like, all right, we'll see if we end up choosing a couple of the same ones. But
I've gotten extras. I've gotten more. So if we do the same, then I'll just grab a different one.
Beautiful. I was gonna say my movies are right here, so if anything, I can grab another one too. I've got a couple extras, but my first one that I selected for the choosing here is Tremors 2. Look. The Tremors movies, all right, to me, I remember watching the first one when I was really, really young, and at least the first three movies in these series were just equally, the first one was almost, like kind of scary, and then with a lot of other, franchises, gets a little bit sillier, and, they got the ass blasters and different things like this, but Tremors in general, but also Tremors 2 has always held a special place with me. Monster movies in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Tremors when it first came out, and just the idea of those sandworms, I was like, this could really happen. There could really be really giant sandworms underneath the ground.
Right,
it's an awesome
right.
premise.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, they get goofier as they go, but sometimes that's what you need, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. All right, what do you got for your next one?
All right, so for my next one, because you gave Tremors 2, and it made me think of Tremors 1, I'm going with Night of the Demons Part 2.
Ooh,
And this has Bobby Jacoby in it, who is in Tremors Part 1 is like the annoying kid. Night of the Demons 2 is great. The first one gets all the love, I feel. You don't hear too much about the second one. There's definitely more gore in the second. The second is an early 90s movie, so it's got that like 90210 horror movie kind of feel.
Right.
Christine Taylor's in it, and she is in Hey Dude, which is like one of my all-time favorite kid shows growing up from Nickelodeon.
God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So seeing her in that as like a bad girl, I'm like, this is crazy, but I really like it. And I mean, Amelia Kincaid, who's Angela in the original, comes back and does the second as Angela. So it's fun, you know, and that's, like I said, what you need sometimes, just a good, gory, fun movie.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. That's awesome. That's one I'm going to have to watch again. I don't even know if I own that one. I'm going to have to snag that. This is going to be inspirational.
Yeah, Our Films released it, so they're still selling it. It's not out of print.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, you know, we mentioned some of these newer companies that are putting out some of this older stuff, and this next selection is one of those. And I'm going with the old Jaws, if you will, Jaws ripoff, Killer Crocodile 2 by Severin. Have you ever seen this bad boy?
Oh, dude, that one is crazy.
Oh, my God.
It's better than the second for sure. Or, I'm sorry, better than the first for sure.
The first one. I totally agree. When I first got this, I watched both of them that weekend, and I'm like, God, the second one's actually better than the first one is.
I mean, that thing, like the fact that they made that crocodile look so realistic, probably on the budget that they were working with, is just shocking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. They had to have like 20 people in the water pushing that thing around.
Yeah.
Awesome choice.
I agree. I absolutely love that one. I loved how, when I initially watched it, it's almost directly ripping off the Jaws music in a lot of ways, and, you know, a lot of the gags and different things. But, you know, Jaws is one of my favorites of all time, and I had to slap that one in here.
Heck yeah. So
all right.
Where was that filmed? Was that filmed in Spain, or I can't remember.
But I'm not sure, honestly.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like an Italian movie, I think, that they filmed like in I don't know where, somewhere foreign, but
yeah,
I love those because the mouths don't match.
I was gonna say it's terribly overdone. I can't say that. It adds more to the schlock of it. All right.
Oh yeah.
So before we get into number 3, let me ask you if you had any sort of if you have 3 horror movie scenes that were forever ingrained in your brain, what would those be? You know, just from the first time watching a movie, and it's just something so shocking, so disgusting. Give me 3 of them.
Number 1 would be Zelda from Pet Sematary.
Oh.
Hands down. Ruined my childhood. Yep. Ruined my childhood. Like, I saw that scene. We watched it at a Halloween party in 4th grade. And when she came up, I was like, what in the hell is this thing? Like, I could not believe that somebody would look like that. And I remember, like, that night I got home and I had to go play soccer. It was like soccer under the lights. And the whole time we were playing, because it was nighttime outside when we were playing under the high school lights, on the high school field, I was like looking over my shoulder, like, is Zelda out here? Is she going to come running at me? Like, terrified.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Evil Dead, or I'm sorry, not Evil Dead, Dead Alive, the custard scene.
Oh, gross.
If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Man, for the last one, probably, I want to say the basket case scene where they show Belial getting ripped apart from, his brother.
Yeah.
Dwayne,
yeah.
where like they're doing the surgery and like cutting away. Like, I mean, I saw that one at a young age too, so that just really stuck in my head. Like just the sound of it like ripping, sounding like
I know.
paper or something. I
Yeah,
don't
for sure,
know.
for sure. I wish that there was, for some of these behind the scenes, it would show some of like how they made the sound effects. That's always been one thing that's
Yeah.
intrigued me with, like it looks gross, you see the effect, but then sometimes it's the sounds of things, kind of how you're mentioning with the tearing or the ripping, and it's like, how are they doing that? Like, is this a Three Stooges gag from back in the day and it's a gong or something?
Yes. Yeah, and that's so effective, just whoever's backstage or doing the, dubbing, putting that in, it makes you just that much more grossed out. So,
I totally agree. Totally agree. You mentioned in Pet
yeah.
Cemetery. This is something I'm asking a lot of people recently. I'm just gonna say, watch that whenever the next opportunity you get. It's got Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
I'm having a brain fart. The director is like a historic horror movie director. Hasn't made anything in like 10, 15 years. Oh my god. Anyway, Color Out of Space. Watch that movie. There is a scene in it that is disgusting, is all I'm going to say, and you're going to love it. I'm pretty sure from what I'm hearing from you that movie is one of the better recent movies. A lot of these interviews I've been talking about it because there's a couple of scenes my wife and I are watching. I'm just like, oh my god, 10.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll have to check that out because it looked too much like Mandy to me, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it because Mandy for me was not my cup of tea, and I know a lot of people love it, but I was like, there's something wrong with me. I hate this movie, and
I didn't like Mandy either.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear.
I honestly wasn't a huge fan of that movie either. I've heard lots of people love it, and I'm glad that it's something original that people are doing. That wasn't my cup of tea, but this one, check it out.
All right,
for sure.
I'll check it out for sure.
All right, so your next selection, what do you got next?
Next, I am going to go with the first and only movie I ever walked out of the theater on, and it was because my dad made me. Return of Swamp Thing.
Oh shit! Nice. Wow. Okay.
So the sequel to Swamp Thing, it really takes the horror to the next level. This is surprisingly really rated PG-13, but the monster effects in it are really crazy, very comic booky, but my dad got super grossed out in the theater when we were watching it and turned to me and was like, we need to go. So that was it for me. So I had to wait until that one came out to rent it and watch it in an entirety myself. But, it's got Sarah Douglas, Heather Locklear, so many people that we recognize from all the B movies in it. And it's just fun. It's a good watch. Some good
did
comedy
you ever
in
come
it,
back
too.
to watch it?
No.
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 I'm not giving this a chance.
Yeah, Castle Freak was the other one that I remember he freaked out over. Granted, I was older when we watched that one, but he was like, turn this off.
Okay. All right.
Took it upstairs and finished.
Right. When you were younger, did you watch a lot of stuff with your dad? Was that kind of how you started getting into horror?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both my parents were into it. We rented Halloween. That was like one of the first movies that they showed me besides Night of Living Dead. And it was obviously the uncut version, so it was probably the first on-screen boobs I ever saw. But it was yeah, I mean, it's those types of experiences I think that kind of cause us to get so into it, because like when we watch some of these, it's like reliving our past, nostalgia, which is big, you kind of want to relive the old memories when you're watching some of these movies, and reminds you of the simpler times.
Yeah, and that touches on a funny thing about, just the whole nostalgia effect, because there are lots of things that I look back, I mean, maybe not lots of things, but there are quite a few things that I look back on that I was a fan of when I was a child, and I look back at horror. That's always the one thing where I'm like, man, it still stands up to today. It's not, it can be corny, but it's in a good way. The horror is always been there for us,
Yep.
For sure. So, all right. So you got Return to Swamp Thing. So this is actually going to be one of my first ever VHS purchases. I bought this movie before I ever even knew what it was. I was at the super small town. They were selling all their VHSs, making room for DVDs, and I snagged myself a copy of Demons 2.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, so let me tell you. So I popped this bad boy in, having no idea. I think I knew of the franchise, but I didn't really know, a whole lot about the movies. I think it's from '86. Lombardo Bava directed, and it got to the point where all of a sudden it's zooming in on the dude's face, and his teeth are pushing out, and it's the blood and everything. Oh my heavenly God! Certainly just stuck with me from there on. I'm like, oh man, I need more of this. Whatever the fuck this is, I need it.
Yeah, it was almost like the Video Dead, but way cooler. I mean, I love the Video Dead, but I mean the demon coming out of the screen, the way they shot that, I think they used like latex or something, but when he pushed his face through, it just blew your mind because you're like, how did they come up with this special effect in 1986?
Right. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Love that one. That's still to this day. Like I say, I think that was one of my first VHSs. People Under the Stairs, and then It. Those were my other two. Those were the first ones. So I'll forever hold on to those babies.
Hell yeah. Awesome, man.
Right.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I also had Demons 2 as one of mine, but I'm going to skip that.
All right. Apologies.
So, no, you are fine. So I'm going to do what I consider the same movie, all one movie, actually, but Basket Case 2 and 3.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, nice.
So they had to have shot this back to back, but Basket Case 2 and 3 take the original premise to the next level by basically introducing the Bradley brothers, Belial and Dwayne, to a house of like-minded freaks, and it's totally off the wall, Frank Henenlotter, goofiness, gore, just revenge, because obviously there's now everyone knows about the Bradley brothers, and there are journalists trying to find them and do the story so they can get the money. So they're trying to break into the freak house, and the freak people are fighting these journalists. It's awesome. And the monster makeup effects are great. They've even got Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead. He's one of the monsters. So yeah, it's just
I did not know that.
Fun. Yeah, he's like what they call moon face or whatever, or half moon, where his head is shaped like a crescent moon. Yeah.
Weird.
Never would have thought that, right?
No, I had no idea. Yeah, that's wild as shit. That's awesome. Good Lord. So,
yeah,
some of the roles these fellas end up taking.
It had to be uncomfortable wearing that crap too.
I can imagine. Yeah, tons of time with makeup. And let me ask you, with all of the cool things, all of the cool props, masks, different things, what would be one prop that you would love, just a holy grail prop from any horror movie ever that you'd love to slap on your wall?
Well, I would say...
Let me first say, you've got a ton of great shit behind you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Oh, man, I would have to say the rocking chair from Black Christmas that's up in the attic. That would be awesome. And
there are certain things where it's just I don't even know if that'd be a good idea to have in your house.
Yeah, I would have to make a dummy with a bag over its head to sit in the rocking chair, but that rocking chair would be super awesome to have.
Damn. Yeah, that would be pretty sick. And I think that's kind of one of those things where people talk about, buying the Annabelle doll or trying to get certain things that are from the Exorcist or, just movies that had haunted past, and it's I don't know if I want to mess with that. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
No Ouija board, nothing like that.
Yeah,
I'm not messing with that crap.
No thanks. What's the Jason that you got behind you there?
That is the Jason Takes Manhattan bust. I picked it up at Chiller, I believe it was. Yeah, in New Jersey.
Damn.
So we drove out to New Jersey, and luckily, because I obviously wouldn't have been taking this guy on the plane home,
Right.
But we were checking it out for a while. I always wanted a Jason bust, and the guys who made it, I think their name's a Graveyard Gallery, but they were offering me a really good deal as the weekend progressed. So I ended up biting the bullet and picking it up,
Got to do it.
And then I had to carry it through the convention to my hotel room, and everybody was like, freaking out. And then it was interesting.
They didn't just let you buy it at the end of the night?
No, it was like, take it off the table or whatever. And I mean, I guess I feel better that way. That way I know nobody's poking and prodding at it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I was like, all right, I'll just take it out to my hotel room and freak out the person that's going to be cleaning it later or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was like one of the crown pieces downstairs here, which is where we have our like little horror dungeon. So
Sure. Yeah, lots of really, really cool stuff. You got some really sweet posters and props and different things that you post up all the time. Really, really sick collection that you got there, man.
Yeah, the posters are, over the past 10 years or so, we really started getting into that. I mean, I've been going to conventions for about 15 years, but I would always get 8x10s, and then some of our close friends were like, why don't you get your actual posters signed? And we thought, hey, that's a great idea. So, and obviously we didn't have a house at that, prior to, so now that we have a house, we can display it. So,
right. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, having an apartment was too small.
Right. Or putting holes all over the place to hang shit.
Yeah.
And your wife has similar interests too? Was that something that was kind of a common ground when you first met?
Yep. She was always into horror movies, and she actually has introduced me to some, like Truth or Dare from the 80s. If you've ever seen that shot on video, Beauty.
Yeah.
So when I thought I'd seen them all, my wife came in and showed me some new ones. But the only area that's off limits to me in the house is the first floor. So,
Nice.
So our first floor, when you walk in, looks normal, but when you go downstairs, and upstairs, it's
everything else a nightmare.
It's a madhouse.
Yeah.
Blow the neighbors' minds.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. What was your next selection here for our part 2's breakdown?
Okay, so my next selection is going to be Maniac Cop 2.
Oh, dude. I'm glad I didn't choose it.
Did you have it?
I had it, but I didn't end up doing it. Thank God. I'm glad we had
I'm
this
glad.
on our list. Yeah.
Yes. This one is just another, I guess you'd call revenge horror film. In explaining my perfect movie monster to you earlier, as I was talking, I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of like Maniac Cop 2. An undead guy out for revenge. But this movie, I think, takes the Maniac Cop premise to the next level. It makes him much more zombified looking. He's much more brutal. It starts off with a bang from the beginning. There's no like build up. It's just all action all the way through. Mm-hmm. Bruce Campbell makes an appearance in it, and same with his co-star from the first one. It's got the guy from Goonies, the Fratelli brother, the real bad Fratelli brother.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. And speaking of burn scenes, like the end of this movie when Maniac Cop is on fire, like that goes on for what appears to be 20 minutes. And I mean, it seems like one shot, and he's just walking around on fire. I'm like, how is this person doing this?
Yeah.
So apparently I'm a pyromaniac or something like that, because I keep talking about these burn scenes, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Especially before CGI.
Art. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's an art form, and it's something that's terrifying, that a person is actually having to be in that costume and being engulfed by flames. So yeah, that is one of those things that it's truly admirable for the people that do it. Shit. I don't want to do that. I'm not jealous. Fuck, I'm not going to engulf myself in flames.
No. After hearing Kane Hodder's horror story, I'm like, never again.
Dude, yeah, for sure. That is terrifying. His documentary is really, really good, too. It's on Shudder, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you own it or not.
Really good watch.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I watched it on Shudder, and he's a really nice guy. So, getting to kind of experience his whole life on a documentary was awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So how about you?
So
What's your next one?
So the next one I got, it's actually a newer one, and it was up until last night that I completely forgot I even had it. And I was just looking through my stuff, scouring, just to make sure that I was making the right choices. And I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I forgot about this. I don't know if you've seen it or what your thoughts are. I don't see a whole lot of people even post about it, but I have Ty West's Cabin Fever 2. What do you think, man? Have you seen it?
I love it. Yeah, dude, I love that movie.
Oh my God. I couldn't really remember it at first from like the first couple of times that I saw it. I remember that I liked it. And I went back and I actually watched it last night and I'm like, oh my God. Like it might be one of my favorite sequels ever. I absolutely I love that movie. Just schlocky, disgusting, the blood, the effects that are going on in it, some of the humor, really, really funny. The acting's really well, the pacing. The movie is really, really cool.
And you got Giuseppe, who is completely hilarious. Oh my God.
Mark Borchardt.
Yes. I could probably watch anything with that Giuseppe dude. I mean, I don't even know all the movies he's in, but he is so damn funny in that in Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
That right. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely love that movie, and that's one that I'm going to have to kind of scour out a little bit more. I don't know if this is actually from a movie gallery. I don't even remember that being a video store around here, but it's the edition that I got. I don't know if there's Blu-rays of it or what. I haven't really done a whole lot of research on it, but God, that movie is awesome.
Yeah, the one that we own, we have like a Cabin Fever 2, Descent, and Descent 2 4-pack, and it was like $9.
Oh, no shit! Wow.
Amazon or whatever. So, if anybody's watching and doesn't have it, you get on Amazon for dirt cheap.
Man, there you go. Or find a video shop that's going out, and maybe they'll have it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you're what we got next, Davo?
All right, I'm gonna go. Now we're gonna talk about our 5 that we absolutely love after this, or is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with this one because I'm gonna stick with the crazy cop scenes, I guess. Psycho Cop 2.
Oh shit! All right. Yeah, I got you.
I don't know if you've seen this one. Vinegar Syndrome released it, and I'm pretty sure that they still have it available without the slipcover, because obviously the slipcovers are the coolest things of all time from them. But the movie is early 90s, bad one-liners, totally crazy premise. I mean, it's like a guy's having a bachelor party in their office building. Like, why would you want to have a bachelor party in your office building? They bring strippers. I mean, it's crazy. Like, the premise is nuts. It's a totally fun watch with a bunch of people eating pizza on a Friday night, or, having a Zoom call and watching it all at the same time. I don't know. But I actually never even seen Psycho Cop 1, so that's why I'm going to say Psycho Cop 2 is where to go, because Psycho Cop 1 you can't find anywhere. I don't think it's ever been released on DVD. You might be able to find it on YouTube, but yeah, I've only seen Psycho Cop 2, and it's a good watch.
Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. I remember seeing that on Vinegar Syndrome, but that's really funny being able to have something like that. Well, I don't know if there's other ones that I've never seen them, but this one's good. So that's funny. Oh shit! All right, so wrapping up my list as far as for our favorite horror part 2s. Other than, the ones that are obviously just going to be our favorites. These are, kind of some backup plans, if you will, for some that you might not hear about a whole lot. So my last choice that I got, which I just picked up a few days ago, actually, from Vestron, is Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
I've not seen that one.
Oh, dude. So the first time I saw it was a long time ago on TV. It's just this gritty, really goofy... they have a zombie that they end up bringing back to life. He somehow ends up on a stretcher that, flies miles and miles down a fucking road and winds up crashing. These kids put him in his basement, and he's coming to life, ensuing all sorts of just madness in this small little town. It's hilarious, goofy. It's completely different from Chud 1. If you liked that movie, it's going to be something that you're going to kind of have to go into with a little bit of a different mindset because it's sillier than shit. But Vestron put out a Blu-ray of it, and man, it's awesome. I absolutely loved it.
I'll definitely check it out. Does it have the guy that's in TerrorVision in it? Is he Bud?
Let's see if I can see it. I can't. It doesn't say the actors' names out.
Okay.
I probably should have looked that up too as well.
I think I've seen
maybe?
like. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's silly. They have it on Amazon. I think this was like $27 or $28. So I mean, just kind of depends. If you have a local shop that sells Vestron, it might be a little bit cheaper. But those are going up a little bit in price too, as far as the maximum overdrive and shit. They've got some higher priced ones.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like some of the older Vestron stuff, like you were saying, is $30 or whatever, and then the new stuff, like Little Monsters, is $12.99. So
yeah, I picked those up as well. The Shivers, did you get that one?
Heck yeah,
dude.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. That was the first time I
I've
ever
not
saw
seen
Shivers, and holy shit, that movie is awesome. Definitely, if you get a chance, pick that up. That movie was way better than what I thought it was going to be.
And they, I think, are at Walmart too. They're showing up, so I might go check out my local Walmart.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come home with a good horror movie.
not a spot I completely frequent all the time, but they had a bunch of. I just had on Orlando Arsena, who did those Sugar Skull covers for like the MGM
those
releases
are awesome.
a few years ago. Yeah, they've got a bunch of those right now at Walmart, and they've got like different steel books, and so they actually have a lot of Shudder exclusive movies they have over there that I saw. So for whatever fucking reason, Walmart's killing it.
Yeah, it's dangerous to walk into those stores, especially if you're a huge movie fan, because you're like, oh crap, this steelbook, like the Christine steelbook that they released at Walmart. I'm like, I need that.
Yeah,
I didn't know I needed it, but now I do.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping up your top 5 here. What do we got for part 2's possibly not mentioned?
Okay, I am going to go with Amityville 2: The Possession.
Ooh, nice. All right.
Obviously, Amityville is a big popular movie, but I feel like the second one, not too many people talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's got odd incestual scenes. It's got Diane Franklin in it, who does an awesome job. It really takes a story, makes it a little bit, I guess, goofy and less like grueling, slow burn horror, and it puts it more in your face. But it's a brutal film. There's like a lot of killings. This family moves in after the Lutz family leaves. You see a lot more. There's a lot more special effects with the demonic possessions. It turns into almost like a religious, like Omen, Exorcist type of movie. So yeah, I love it. I prefer this over the first one.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Which I get a lot of heat for, but I'm sticking to
it. That's the beautiful thing. You can have your own selections. You can have your own. That's why, I thought this would be kind of a fun thing, because I know you have a really big selection too, and, knowledge of movies as well. And talking about, some of the direct sequels that movies people don't normally mention. A lot of people talk the Evil Dead 2s and so on and so forth. But yeah, I appreciate that. And I don't know if I've seen the whole thing of Amityville 2. I know I've turned it on before, but I'm trying to think of if I ever finished it. And I'm going to have to watch it, my dude.
Yeah, Shout Factory released these in a trilogy box set, which was awesome. But with Shout Factory, stuff goes out of print quickly.
Right.
So my recommendation is anytime they have like an out of print sale, pick up all the sequels that you can. Because those are the ones that always end up going for so much more on eBay for some reason. I don't know. Like
weird.
The Slumber Party Massacre 2 and 3 double feature that they came out with, it's like crazy. $200 opened on eBay, and I'm like, do I sell it? No, I can't. So.
Right. You gotta hold on to those, man. Keep that collection alive.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we'll break into just having a little fun here. What are your 5 favorite part 2s ever.
Okay. So number one, I guess, would be Friday the 13th Part 2. That introduces Jason with the sack over his head. And I just think that movie really brings the horror. The franchise obviously is huge, and I mean I love Part 3. Don't get me wrong, but Part 2 kind of kicked open the doors for the entire, I think, slasher boom of the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
And anything with woods and camping, even though I don't like camping myself, but I love watching movies where people are camping and getting killed.
Right.
So I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and what do you got next?
Next, I have Phantasm 2, which is an ultimate road movie. It takes Reggie Bannister to the badass level. He is just a complete maniac in that. Sawed off, quadruple-barreled shotguns, chainsaws. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I love Phantasm 2 more than Phantasm 1, so I'm probably going to get heat from that too, especially when I talk with my friends about it.
I cannot agree more, dude. I'm in the same boat. And I just recently was talking to a buddy that Phantasm's one of his favorite horror movies ever. And I'm like, look, man, I hate to tell you, I just watched all 4 of them again. And Part 2's the best out of that whole franchise.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear anything back.
Yeah, I was bummed because when Joe Bob had the Phantasm Marathon on Shudder, he skipped over Part 2. And he said it was because they burned the Hemi-Cuda in it and destroyed that car, which is like a 1971 classic or whatever car from Pontiac, I believe. And being from Michigan, you probably are aware of the Hemi-Cuda. So when he skipped over that in the marathon, I was so upset because I'm like, I want to see my favorite Phantasm. I want to hear Joe Bob talk about it, but it didn't happen.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Weird. Bastard. All right, so you got you went over Phantasm 2. What you got next?
Aliens.
Oh yeah, of course.
So obviously Alien is like a classic gothic horror movie where Aliens is kind of like the Terminator 2 version. Oh, yeah. It's done by Cameron, and it's so much action, and it's got Bill Paxton, who plays an awesome minor role in it, I guess you could say. Sigourney Weaver is full-on badass in that movie. You got the Alien Queen, and all the drone aliens. It's just a perfect movie to keep the pace and keep you awake after a long day of work. And I love to watch that movie when it's winter outside for some reason, just because I guess it feels like cold like space, Oh,
okay. So. Okay. Nice. All right, what you got next?
Poltergeist 2.
Okay.
So I grew up on Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2 because those are PG-13 movies, so something I could watch, I guess, at a younger age. But for some reason, the second one always stuck out in my head the most, probably because of the guy who played the satanic preacher or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
I mean, that face, like, I know he was dying at the time, like, he was dying of cancer when they filmed that, but I mean, that just added to it. Right. He looked like a skeleton walking around.
He was actually dead when they released the movie. So when the movie actually came out, he was already passed. Yeah. So then that added even more creepiness to it, to where they're sitting here watching a movie with a guy that just recently passed.
Yikes! Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the tequila worm scene in that was awesome.
Yeah.
Where I forget his name, but Coach, the guy who plays Coach in the TV sitcom, pukes up the giant worm monster. I mean, there's just a lot of cool special effects.
Yeah, so much fun in it, for sure. All right, what you got last but not least?
Last but not least, I am going to go with Hellraiser 2.
Nice.
Hellbound.
Hellbound.
That one also really sticks with me. Julia as the, I guess, evildoer. In the first one it was Frank, but I think Julia does a much better part. And how they go into hell, and Dr. Chenard, and the whole background story that you kind of get with Pinhead. I mean, I'm not normally a fan of background stories in movies because I sometimes feel like it takes away from the creepiness of the monster or whatever you want to call him.
Right.
But in Hellraiser 2, I think it worked. And the set pieces are kind of hokey, but they had a tiny budget to work with, and they did what they could. And even to this day, I mean, I think it's, for what it was and the time period it came out in, it looks great to me. So
yeah, for sure. That's another one too, to where honestly I like that movie better than the first one. I like Hellraiser. It's a good movie and all that, but I've always preferred Hellbound over the first movie. So awesome choice.
Thank you.
Very nice, sir. Very nice list as well. The honorable mentions that we brought up. Hopefully, everybody's going to check those out. If you haven't seen those, we wanted to dig into some that might not always get brought up. A little bit of odds and ends, movies that might get passed over, and some killer sequels. Me, as far as my favorites, I always go with the same ones because they always stick out the most to me. Being Halloween 2. Which I go back and forth if I like that movie better than the first one as well. I hate even saying that, but it's it's kind of one of those things, not a popular opinion, but man, just the whole overall setting and just kind of the grimace and the grime of the whole movie. I love, I've always loved with that one. Halloween 2, Evil Dead 2, once again, kind of a remake / just a reimagining, if you will, expanding the universe type thing, introduced me to the realm of Army of Darkness, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Bruce Campbell, you can't have, you can't not have fun with him in a horror movie. Creepshow 2, the anthology series, having some of the stories that they do, The Raft in particular, creeped the shit out of me for the longest time. Things with water in general always creep me out, so that was one that just slapped me right in the face and didn't let me go. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, you got Tobe Hooper making a movie completely different from the very first one. Still gross, the scene where Leatherface pops out of the dark in the radio disc jockey booth. Still super effective, very creepy. The scene where the fella's getting, has his face pulled off and he goes to put it on her, just disgusting. Still to one of these days is one of those scenes that kind of fucks with me. and
the soundtrack in that movie is awesome.
Yes, for sure.
Concrete Blonde, I think, has a couple songs in there, and I didn't even know who they were until I saw that movie, and I was like, holy crap, this band is awesome. So
for sure, yeah. It's certainly, like I say, completely different with even having a soundtrack, from the first one, just being weird dings and dongs and practical shit that they probably found around the farm. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has always hold pretty dear with me, part 2. And then last but not least that I have to mention on this that I just was on Neon Brainiacs and we talked about is Return of the Killer Tomatoes. I don't know if you've ever seen this one.
I've never seen that one.
Oh my God, dude. If you're into like schlocky, real funny kind of Mel Brooks humor, it's not so much a horror movie, it's more humor, but they touch on a lot of stuff in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Absolutely hilarious movie. It's a standalone in that whole realm that I love and to this day remains one of my favorite, at least comedy horror movies out there, and certainly one of my favorite sequels.
Well, I'll have to give that one a check out too then.
Yeah, for sure.
Learn some new stuff today, yeah.
Sick. Awesome. All right, so for the finale, I wanted to touch a little bit on, our theme with today, and I wanted to ask you, this is a finale that I came up with called Change the Sequel. So if you had an opportunity to change any one horror movie sequel ever, any one horror movie part 2 ever, what movie would it be, and how would you have changed it?
Well,
it's a big pill to swallow, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the first one that popped in my head, though, is The Howling 2. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it is
I
not
don't think
good.
I finished it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's got Sybil Danning in it, who I normally like in movies, but she can't even say that thing. It's just such a off the wall movie, and it doesn't follow what you would expect the sequel to The Howling to, the storyline. I'd want to see Dee Wallace and like what happens after she changes into a werewolf on live TV. Which I mean, I love The Howling. I love werewolf movies. So going down the Dee Wallace path of like what's going to happen when the whole world sees this, are they going to create like werewolf cities, or I don't know. I mean, there could be so many cool different things that they like incorporate into that storyline, and it just falls apart. And then the rest of the Howling movies, every single one after it is just not good. So I think that if they were to like kind of expand on the original, then that movie and all the sequels after it could have had a chance, So
yeah, for sure.
That will be my choice.
Or, even like nowadays, if somebody came in and they said, look, man, we need to act like all of these other ones didn't happen, like kind of like they're doing with the Halloween series, if you will. Go back and none of this other stuff ever happened. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make a sequel, 40, 20, 30 years later or whatever. And, do something like that. There's still that option because people are definitely biting onto that shit with the Halloween series.
Yeah. And the fact that they redid the Halloween storyline and took out all the Rob Zombie stuff made me very happy. So,
dude, that's a conversation for another time, my man. Unfortunately, this is our time, but I'm glad that we left on that, so we'll leave that there. And like I say, buddy, thank you so much for taking the time today, my man, and so much fun. Right. And we'll keep in contact, everybody.
Yeah, all
the
right.
Lo-Fi Horror Guy. Nuke Dave, check him out on Instagram. Do you have other social media as well? I'm terrible at asking that, so I need to start asking that.
Instagram is really the only thing I like to use. I have Facebook, but I don't ever go on there. So I only have it to get like invited to things. If like our friends are having a wedding or something and they send out an invite, that's why I have it. But Instagram is my. Well, thanks, man. I love being on the show and kind of broke me in on actually speaking out on social media. I've never done this before, so
sweet.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, not a problem, man. It's been super fun. I enjoy seeing the content that you put on your page. Your wife puts up some really cool horror stuff too, some posters. So it's really cool to meet people and through this. I mean, I have different people ask me, to do Zoom interviews and do other things, but like this whole thing has kind of been orchestrated through Instagram. I get a hold of a lot of people. I know, a lot of the cats that are on here. So, it's people like you that, really inspired this. So I appreciate what you're doing and keep on kicking, my man.
Yeah, you too. And I felt like I have known you for a long time before we even talked face to face today, just because of Instagram and us being connected through that way, So it's a great thing to have.
For sure. Totally agree. All right, buddy. Well, you take care.
Man.
You stay safe.
I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. See ya.
Bye-bye. Lo-Fi Horror Guys